Tim, so wonderful to talk to you again. I'm wondering how you're weathering this crisis.
Well, it's a great opportunity for people to think reset. And some of our entrepreneurs are doing incredibly well in this crisis, and some are really suffering.
Right,
Um, the ones that are doing very well really run most of their business remotely anyway,
right.
and some are creating products that were sort of curiosities for a while, but now they have the ability to go mainstream. So, like people were starting to use VR, people were starting to use remote education because the schools were closed. They're starting to use remote healthcare because the hospitals were closed, and then they're starting to open up and try Bitcoin wallets and Bitcoin Cash wallets and Tezos wallets and whatever because they're saying, well, wait, you know, um, first of all, what is all this about? They want to try it out, but the
Yeah,
other part is that they're saying, well, wait, if they're going to print $9 trillion and shove that into the economy, then the dollars I have are going to be worth about 30% less. So I should move to another currency and one that's more steady and will probably increase in value over time. And that's where people are starting to use some of those cryptocurrencies. And then it's been very difficult for companies that are required to have large groups of people banding together. I'm sure that WeWork is having difficulty. I'm sure that I know Airbnb is having difficulty, um, and so that's a new thing that we're all having to deal with. And then I've noticed people, for the first 2 weeks, this was kind of a vacation for everybody, but
yeah,
now, we're 6 months in or something, 5 months in, and it's starting to really wear on people's psyche.
yes,
I'm
I agree.
noticing that um, you were late,
Yes,
but people are starting to drift. I think the pizza and pajamas is starting to set in, and it's just time. I force myself every morning to get dressed up and go to work, and then I close the door. I kiss my wife goodbye. I close the door, and I'm all dressed up. Right now, I got a coat and tie on,
oh,
and it's
great,
just like a regular day at day at work. But I
very
know
cool.
that some of the people I work with are having real emotional difficulties. They live alone. They're sort of trapped there. It this is not this is not healthy. I mean, it's not healthy in an obvious way, but it's also really not healthy to be trapped in place. So,
Yeah,
I think we should take the hit, rip off the mask, go out there, live your life. And I'm sure that there are a million people going, "What? How would he ever say that?" But I think otherwise you're going to watch the slow, steady degrading of humanity.
yeah. I have an attorney friend who told me that people have committed suicide, and just because of the self isolation, he's having to deal with some of the cases. So it's just very sad, and I agree, difficult time for everyone. How are you managing current investments, and are you managing to invest in new investments? How are you doing that?
So we were lucky. Very few of our companies had too much difficulty because most of them were remote. The ones that are building hardware or transportation or whatever, those are having more difficulty because they're not allowed to work together, and that's a painful thing if you're trying to put a very complex piece of hardware together. But
Yes.
but I think um, we've been able to at Draper Associates, we've been able to pull our heads out of it and write checks. We've been very active during this time.
Fabulous.
Yeah, we're finding that the Series A companies are coming to us at seed pricing,
Wow.
because they're realizing that there not many people are out there writing checks right now. And then going into August, where partners all take a vacation,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be even tougher for entrepreneurs to get their
Mm.
money. And so fortunately, while the rest of the venture business sleeps, we're as active as we've ever been.
Good work, Tim. That's fantastic news. What do you think are the takeaways from the current crisis? I know other VCs have told me their sort of insights, because it's almost like an enforced retreat. Um, do you have you managed to think of like what you could take out of this? What learning?
Yeah, well, clearly our the company that we have in China that's a, a psychology company where I think they're going to do very well.
Yes.
What did I take out of it? I take out of it a combination of things. Yes, the virus is real, but the groupthink is the most dangerous thing we've ever had in humanity.
Yeah.
It is dystopian groupthink. I think we have an opportunity right now to be either utopian or dystopian, where the utopian view is, hey, we're global, we're open, we're all in this together, we're transparent, we're the borders are meaning less and less. Let's have free trade around the world. Let's have free markets around the world. Let's let this thing go. And then there are these governments, some governments, that are saying the dystopian word, which is, we're telling you what to do. Wear a mask, turn around 3 times, wash your hands, do maybe
Mm.
it's all good. Maybe it's all healthy for us. It's a good idea. Maybe it's not. Maybe it
Yeah.
isn't. And what if they're telling us to do something that is going to, wipe out humanity because the next one's going to be bigger and we won't have built up our herd immunity? We're playing with Mother Nature here, and I'm not sure it's going to be so healthy. And what's worse is it allows these dictators to start feeling like they can tell everybody what to do, and all of our freedoms have been taken away, and that's the beginning
Yes.
of the end. That's horrible.
Yeah.
So this reset that we've got, we can either go back, become global, build on that globalism, build on the decentralized world, or we can retreat back into being tribal with leaders who tell us all what to do, and we just follow their orders. I mean, boy, a lot of people have fought for freedom in this country, in the U.S., and I know they have in other parts of the world, and many, many times. And I hate to be letting them down by forcing people in place and forcing this kind of activity where certain kinds of businesses have to be shut down and other businesses get to live.
Yes.
It's not healthy. So time to free up.
Yeah. Well, that's a really interesting perspective, Tim, and you're always reliable in that of being able to think independently. Um, would you be able to give me like your
And
overview of
that's
how you?
probably one of the big problems, is that I am thinking independently, and people look at it and go, oh no, he's thinking independently, because, because they're all thinking whatever they saw in the news that day. It's like
Yeah.
new shiny object. Let's just follow it. And whatever they told me in the news, that's the way I'm supposed to think. That is not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not certainly not
Yeah.
healthy politically, because
Yeah.
it forces people into a box politically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we really need to be able to work on issues, not work on, you know, which box we fit into.
Yes.
This is so yeah.
A
When
good
people
point.
say be safe to me, it drives me crazy. I say be brave, go out there, do something. Be safe. That's just nasty. You're being mean to me. I
So
want to live my life.
good on you. It's an inspiration. So I guess, how do you think investment's going to look in the next year or 2 years because of what's happened already?
Well, you're going to see a lot of interesting information coming out, say July 20th ish, because that's when earnings reports are going to come out. And
Okay.
those earnings reports are going to say, wow, it was a really great quarter for Amazon and Zoom. But for a lot of these businesses, we were expecting a lot and we didn't get anything. And
Right.
that could be tough on the public markets. And so if you're thinking of, boy, what do I do with my money? I think the public markets are as dangerous a place to put it as you could possibly imagine right now, with PE ratios at absolute all-time highs. I've
Right.
never, even in the dot-com boom, I have not seen PE ratios on companies like this ever this high. In fact,
Wow.
sometimes they're not even an E. They're not even making any money. So I'd say to put more money into the stock market is probably not a good idea. Put money into private companies might work because you'll get the next cycle. To put money into bonds, what do you get? You get a 0% bond rating. Put money into real estate. I think residential real estate, nice residential real estate, might start creeping up. Commercial real estate is going to have a very difficult time
Yes.
because people are saying, half the people are saying, I like working from home.
Yes.
The other half of the people are saying, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so that would mean that real estate, commercial real estate, is the supply is twice what it needs to be.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
good for the price of real estate. And then Bitcoin is a great place to put it. I mean, it's like the new gold
Fabulous.
because you know that as it spreads, it will increase in value, and I think we're all going to be benefiting from that. Anybody who holds any Bitcoin is going to benefit a lot from that.
Fantastic.
And also, the reason Bitcoin was a big hit in Argentina and Nigeria and some of those countries is
Yeah.
because their own currencies were unstable. They were their politicians were printing money, and so they had huge inflation. Well, we just printed $9 trillion in the U.S., and that is flooding the economy. There are only, just to give you an idea how big $9 trillion is, there are only $86 trillion worth of currency in the world floating around today. So
Wow.
9 trillion is like more than 10%. So
Wow.
it is a huge number. And
Yeah.
so I'm guessing we're going to probably experience some serious inflation,
Mm.
and people will look at dollars as hot potatoes to try to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And people start looking at Bitcoin as something to hold on to, just the way during inflationary times before, people tried to buy commodities, anything they could that was a physical object. They tried to buy
Right.
during those times because the money the next day would be worth less, and the
Wow.
prices would go up.
Wow.
And that's what they do in Nigeria and Argentina and
Wow.
Venezuela.
Well, and that's great news about Bitcoin and obviously cryptocurrencies and blockchain. I've been
Yeah, there's
banging.
something interesting that's, I think, just about to happen, and
Right.
that is only 1 in 14 Bitcoin wallets is owned by a woman, and women do about 80% of the shopping.
Yeah.
And if you put those two things together, as soon as women realize that they can save 2.5 to 4% every time they swipe a credit card, they are going to move to Bitcoin so fast.
Yeah.
And if they're sitting there deciding, and it's easy to do now. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
never easy before. And
very easy.
women tend to go as for the community. They're always looking out for the best of the community.
Yeah,
Well, Bitcoin's going to be much better for the community, and than some currency that's tied to some government entity. So we're gonna see a big flow of women buying, moving their money to Bitcoin, and starting to shop with it. And Bitcoin Cash is so easy to use now. It's
yeah,
really crazy. But Bitcoin's easy to use too. If you're shopping with Bitcoin, you want to use OpenNode.
right.
Um, but it
That's so exciting because I've been supporting that community for quite a few years, and it's just great to hear that this could be really a great kickstart for it.
Oh yeah, I think this has been a kickstart.
Yeah,
Anybody who thinks at all about the future is
yes,
saying, "Well, God, get me out of dollars and get me into Bitcoin."
yeah, yeah. That's great. Well, that's a great note to finish on, Tim. You're always a delight to interview. Thank you so much for your time. Apologies again for being late. And I really appreciate your contribution, and I'm sure the listeners will too. Thank you so much.
Terrific, great. Well, please send me a link. I'll
Yes,
spread the word.
thank you so much.